Hello everyone and welcome to my studio. Today I thought we would do something in the way of a combination of a warm-up and a practice of various different techniques in watercolour. So a loose, expressive play, if you like. I'm finding it a bit hard to concentrate on painting with the new lambs at the moment, so this I thought might help to refocus me. I'm just taping down a piece of watercolour paper here, £140 cold pressed watercolour paper, just using some masking tape, ordinary painter's tape to stick it to my board, and then once that's firmly attached so it doesn't buckle, I will start with the painting. I'm using Old Holland paints here and some schminke. So we all know how afraid we are of a blank sheet of paper, I'm no exception. But if you just mix up some paint and then just spatter it onto the white surface, somehow that will be quite freeing. So what I've done here is I've just picked up my round brush, I've got some sap green and I've made it into a runny mix, and I'm just splashing it onto the paper in a random kind of way. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with this. This is just play. And then I've switched from the round brush to my, I can never remember the name of this one, sword liner, that's right. And I'm kind of linking up the spatters that I've done. And I bet you that makes you think of branches, because it makes me think of branches and makes me feel that, you know, one day I'll actually be able to really paint the branches in a tree and feel confident that it was going to work. So look at that, that's amazing, isn't it? Don't they look like twigs? And we're not even trying. So that's where I started. Then I thought, okay, so that's the branches of the trees, or some bush or something, I don't know what. Anyway, it made me think of blue sky, so I picked up my toothbrush and I've got some dilute turquoise blue here, just ordinary turquoise blue, cobalt turquoise, and I'm going to just spray that into the background a little bit there. And I'm doing this because this is a very useful technique for providing a background for any painting that you've done. If you're a little bit worried about how you're going to finish it off, just put some toothbrush spray into the background and you'll be amazed how impactful that can be. It's a really good technique for lots and lots of subjects, especially botanical or plants and animals and things like that. And now I found myself thinking that wanted some yellow, and as soon as I started to put yellow on there, I'm thinking, oh, this looks like a lemon tree. This time last year we were in Spain and well, actually just on our way back, because we had been evicted from Spain due to the lockdown. Everybody was told to go home, so we just got back, but we were there for the winter, and one of the wonderful things about Spain is in the winter it's so green, and the lemon and orange trees are covered with fruit, which is marvellous. So that is what I was thinking of here. But we'll see how this goes. It's not going to end up as lemons or anything like it, because this is really an abstract. So I'm just putting blobs of paint onto the paper, and I'm just kind of letting my instinct tell me where to put the different colours. I've got some transparent yellow, which is the lighter one, and now this is quinacridone gold. And as I'm putting it on the paper, I'm kind of allowing it to mingle and blend with the green, the sap green that I put on there at the beginning, just to see what happens, because it's quite nice when the colours run in together and you get other mixtures. Now I'm just trying out the idea of putting some petals on these blobs, and very quickly realizing I'm not in the mood for that, so I'm going to take that away. You know, sometimes you're not in the mood for certain things. I do find that I think I paint quite from the heart kind of thing, so if something isn't working I just have to stop it. So I thought, okay, maybe if I don't want petals, maybe a few leaves. So I'm doing some leaf technique here, which is really effective and very simple, and I'm sure you've seen this done lots of times on YouTube, where you just pick up a couple of colours on your brush, and then starting with the pointy end you just gradually increase the pressure a little bit and then lift it off again so that you end up with a pointed oval which has something in common with a leaf. So that's a good way of giving the impression of leaves. And the picture does still look a little bit like a lemon tree or an orange tree, because lemon leaves are a bit that shape and they are kind of that sort of colour as well. But I'm just developing it a little bit more now with a few more blobs of a greenish yellow. That's going to be a mixture of sap green and a little bit of yellow, I think, and wondering what to do next. So we've had several techniques, haven't we, so far? And now I've gone back to my sword liner, and I'm going to emphasize the little twiggy things that I had done, just putting in a few more and allowing the paint to drip into the damp yellow blobs to give a little bit more of a mixture of colours there as well. And also just to give a bit more contrast, because now I'm using a darker green. This is phthalo blue mixed with the sap green to give a dark green colour. This is really good practice, because one of the things about painting is, as you're learning, excuse me, you don't really know what your brush can do. So you have to practice and loosen up and learn. You know, they talk about muscle memory and things like that. Well, basically it's just learning how to hold a brush and what the bristles or the hairs on the brush will do. And that's, you know, really good and important to practice. You can't expect to start to learn to paint and be able to do all these things straight away. It takes practice, like playing the piano. You don't expect to sit down in front of a piano and be able to make music. You expect to spend years learning the techniques, and it's exactly the same with art. And if anyone tells you it isn't, then they are pulling your leg, because it is. Trust me, I know. I mean, maybe a few people are born with an amazing gift, and, you know, we all know about the piano geniuses as well and everything else. But for most of us, it's just a skill we have to learn. And unless you are a reincarnated Picasso, which is moderately unlikely, you are going to have to sit down and learn some of these techniques, or else just stick with the basically unsatisfying situation where you never know whether something is going to turn out or not. So, okay, I am now going to grab my toothbrush again and spatter some yellow on here, just to kind of unify it a little bit. I think that's what I was thinking at the time. I just did this a few minutes ago, and I've had to add the voiceover afterwards because there was some noise in the environment, so things have calmed down now. So I'm coming in with some quinacridone gold again. I'm having another go at putting some petals on one of these blobs to turn it into a flower, and I still don't like it. It's obviously not my day for flowers, so that's going to go, and we'll put something else on there. Clearly this is a lemon tree, and I now know that I've been painting a lemon tree abstract version since the beginning. That was where I started, and that looks pretty much like that's where I've ended up. So we are going to be thinking about winding this painting up in the near future. A few more lines of dark colour here just to make me feel happier. Not sure exactly what I was thinking here. A few leaves, yes, maybe a few more leaves. In bluish green, that's phthalo blue. And a few more spatters in the background there. This is where you start to think, should I stop now, or is there more that should or could be done? What am I going to do with this? Do I want it to be a painting, or is it going to remain as an exercise in my sketchbook? Or perhaps I could use it as a cover for a book or a journal or something. How far do I want to go with this? So I'm just emphasizing those colors, and I think the lemons are turning into oranges. Painting intuitively, you never really know what your intuition is going to manifest. So there we are. And I think it's about time to start thinking about winding up the background. So I think any second now I'm going to start putting a little bit of broken wash in the corners. That's another technique for putting in a sky in a painting after you've more or less finished it. If you paint the foreground first and you don't do the sky ahead of time, then you've got to put something in at the end. So you might splash a bit of paint around and then pick up a bigger brush and kind of wash that in. And that's what I'm going to do here. You could call that a broken wash. I would call that a broken wash. It just links the paper to the painting. And we'll do that in all four corners. And then once this is done, we will apply the hairdryer to dry it off quickly. And you'll notice again, I'm not worrying about touching the wet paint, allowing it to run, because you get some very nice effects where the paint runs into the wet areas. Just dabbing that bit off there because that's just a little bit too dark for that area. And although I would like to carry on with this, I'm not going to, because I'm going to spoil it. If it has any virtue, it's about to lose it. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to dry it off. Okay, so now I've dried the painting and I'm going to take the tape off that was holding it to the board carefully so as not to rip the painting, which is oh so easy to do. But if you do rip it by accident, then don't worry, you can always glue it back down again with a little bit of Grit stick or something like that. It's not the end of the world. And so there we are, one warm-up practice session, different techniques, colour blending, colour mixing, mixing on the paper, using a toothbrush, spattering, using a sword liner, and so on and so forth. Just a quick run through of the colours I used. This is the phthalo blue, and that was the background colour, and I also had cadmium yellow, and this is transparent yellow. That's a lovely bright yellow colour which is great for things like lemons, even if they do turn into oranges. And then we had quinacridone gold and also sap green, which you can see in the corner there. So thanks very much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and give it a try next time you're feeling blocked. And I'll say bye-bye for now. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.